Well, earlier on Friday, scuffles broke out between Zimbabwean riot police and opposition politicians at an MDC press briefing. Police reportedly pushed journalists out of the venue. President-elect Mnangagwa has responded to the trouble. He says the actions of police have no place in Zimbabwean society and that he's urgently investigating the matter. The news conference was later allowed to go ahead. Chamisa apologised to journalists for the actions of the police. He then went on to condemn the results.
There has been a misunderstanding that has characterized this election. As far as we are concerned, this election as a presidential result is fraudulent, illegal, illegitimate, and characterized by serious credibility gaps and some serious legitimacy issues.
Well, let's get you the latest on that story. I'm joined live from Harare by CGTN's Farai Markituya. Farai, what happens now? When will President Mnangagwa be inaugurated, and how have his supporters been reacting?
Well, Karen, President-elect Mnangagwa said a short while ago at that address that you just mentioned that legally he is required to be sworn in within 9 days of the declaration of the results, barring any challenges, and there is the time frame that allows for any challenges to the outcome of the elections to be heard by the electoral court. So we expect that the MDC alliance, which is challenging and which disputes this election result, may lodge its case with the electoral court, and if that is dispensed with, then we expect that inauguration to proceed within 9 days of Thursday. His supporters, and I'm talking now about President Mnangagwa's supporters, are saying that, they expected this result given the way in which the parliamentary vote had gone, getting a sweeping majority there, 2/3 majority is something that they expected. But I think more importantly, they are saying now is the time to, roll up the sleeves, get down to the hard work of trying to rebuild Zimbabwe, to fix the economy, and to get people believing again.
Well, as you were saying there, the opposition has rejected the results. Tell us more about what the MDC's next step is likely to be.
Well, the MDC insists that, its president, Nelson Chamisa, won that presidential vote, according to what he said at that news conference. He says that he got 56% rather, of the vote, according to the tallies that they've done internally. And they say that this is based on results that were posted outside individual polling stations across the country, which they gathered as a party and which they've tallied, and which show him getting over 2.4 million votes in this election. They say that President Mnangagwa didn't get more votes than Nelson Chamisa. They are saying that they will challenge this across the board, whether it is in the courts and also through political channels where perhaps they look to stage some peaceful protests. When pressed on what course of action the MDC will now take and where the evidence is, Nelson Chamisa remains coy. He says that in the game of politics, he doesn't want to expose his hand too much, or else his rivals will be able to counter it.
Let's talk a bit about Wednesday's violence. This election's been marred by that. Mnangagwa has called his win a new beginning. What does he need to do now to foster reconciliation?
Well, I think he's taken a huge first step by committing to setting up an independent commission of inquiry, and he said that it will comprise of both locals as well as international members who will make up this commission of inquiry that will look into what happened on Wednesday. I think one of the key questions that many people here have had is how or who called in the army. The police says that it was overwhelmed by those protesters, and so as it is mandated or allowed to under the Constitution, it called in the army as backup, and so we ended up seeing the scenes that happened, that ammunition being fired into the crowds and into the protesters. So this commission of inquiry will get to the bottom of some of the issues here, find some answers to some of the issues, some of the questions that people have been raising, and hopefully bring some finality and bring to book some of the people who should be brought to book. And I think that's the key first step by President Mnangagwa. I think what he's also done to reach across the political divide, to extend that olive leaf, will bring people together, will reconcile people who've been divided on partisan lines, and hopefully get the country united once again.
Okay, thank you for that. That was CGTN's Farai Markituya there, joining us live from Harare.